assaulted by her sister's boyfriend. But OP's sister accuses OP of trying to sabotage her relationship out of jealousy and uninvite her from engagement. My 27-year-old female little sister, Lily, 25-year-old female, had been my best friend since childhood, and we shared everything from clothes to secrets. But one secret, that I was once assaulted by her fiancé Daniel, 29-year-old male. And when I shared it with my sister, she accused me of trying to sabotage her relationship out of jealousy and uninvite me from her engagement. Background. I have known my sister's fiancé long before her. I met him at a party during my junior year of college, and it's been roughly about 8 years since then. We met at a party where I had gone with a few friends. By the end of the evening, most of my friends had either gone home or were too drunk to even realize what was occurring. I wasn't much of a drinker, but I had had 2 beers to lighten up. I remember talking to Daniel for a long period of time. He seemed nice enough, and we flirted a bit. But then, after I excused myself to go to the bathroom, things went dark. When I wake up, I found myself in one of the bedrooms, and Daniel was there. By the state of my clothes and the way I felt, I knew something horrible had happened. I immediately accused him, and he said, "You were into it." But I wasn't. I had never given my consent. At that time, I was very young and very scared, so I didn't know how to act or what to do with my feelings. So, I just escaped from there. I didn't tell to anybody, neither my friends nor my family. I buried this deep and tried to move on with my life like nothing happened, but it haunted me for years afterward. Fast forward about 3 years ago, when my sister introduced her new boyfriend into the family, and I could hardly breathe as I saw him. It was Daniel, the same Daniel who violated me. I felt sick, but I didn't say anything because my sister was so happy, and a part of me actually convinced myself that maybe it wasn't as bad as I remembered. Maybe I had overreacted. I kept my distance from him as much as I could. We weren't close, but I tolerated him for my sister's sake. She was madly in love, and I didn't want to ruin that for her. I thought I could just let it remain buried, allow her to live her life, and never let it come up again. But with their relationship taking a serious turn, anxiety began to overwhelm me. I started having nightmares of going back to that night, every family gathering when Daniel was present. I felt physically ill. Then a month ago, my sister called and said Daniel had proposed and they were having a big engagement party. It was like my stomach dropped to the floor. I knew I couldn't keep this inside anymore. I knew I couldn't let her marry the man who had assaulted me. So, I asked her to go out for coffee a week before the engagement party. I was a nervous wreck. When we sat, I told her everything. About the night I met Daniel, what happened, how it has been eating me alive for years. I did expect her to be shocked, maybe angry. What I did not expect was her reaction. My sister didn't believe me. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You're lying. You just want to ruin this for me." I was heartbroken. She stormed out of the cafe and blocked me on everything. The next day, my parents called me furious. Apparently, Daniel had already spun a story that I had always been jealous of him, and that I was trying to sabotage their relationship. My parents took their side and told me that I needed to let the past go and stop making up stories to hurt my sister. I tried to defend myself, but nobody listened. The engagement party took place without me, and I haven't spoken to my sister since then. I am not sure whether I did right or wrong by revealing the secret that I was assaulted by her fiancé. So, am I the jerk? OP is not an AH here, and OP's telling her story is 100% justified. Denying the truth for the sake of preserving family harmony would have continued to harm OP. So, I would give OP 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. As for OP's sister, she's being an AH for not taking OP seriously and accusing her of trying to sabotage her relationship. So, I would give OP's sister 3.5 out of 5 on the AH scale. Let's now move on to another Am I the Butthole, where OP refuses to let her boyfriend move in with when he quit his job without discussing with her, telling her before, and without taking her in confidence. I, 26-year-old female, have been in a relationship with my boyfriend Josh, 27-year-old male, for 3 years. For the first time, we met in college, and after a few months of friendship, we entered into a relationship and soon moved in together in senior years. After our graduation, we decided to stay apart for some time while we saved up money and tried to get an idea of what path each should take. We did so before the next big step. I started off as a marketing manager in a startup company, while my boyfriend began his career as a software developer in a tech firm. Things were going fine. We liked the independence with each other, although at most weekends we would end up seeing each other. Around 1 year ago, we again started talking about moving in together again. We both were making decent money, and splitting expenses was one of those things that sounded really appealing. I was excited, but wanted to wait a few months until I get a promotion at work that I had been working very hard for and would be more financially secure. However, my boyfriend began to become more and more insistent for me to move in right away. He used to talk about how much money we would save, finally getting a place that felt like ours, and how much closer we would become as a couple. I loved him and wanted it to happen, but I kept asking for just a little more time, telling him how important this promotion was to me. He said he understood, but I knew he was frustrated. Fast forward to 3 months ago, my boyfriend calls me out of the blue one afternoon while I was at work and told me that he had quit his job. Well, of course I was shocked. He gave no warning that he was unhappy. He never discussed the decision with me. Nothing. He just quit. He said it was because he could not handle the stress anymore. The work environment was toxic, and he felt drowned. I could understand the part about the stress. But then again, I was more hurt because he didn't tell me about that stuff and just quit. We talked long about that night, and I tried to be understanding. I offered to help him update his resume, search for new jobs, and even suggested he take some time off to recharge. I was worried about his future, but he wasn't, and he suggested we should move in together, saying he needed my emotional support at that difficult time, and that we would figure out his next step together. I was floored. I had just gotten my promotion, and though I made more now, I wasn't prepared for supporting 2 people financially. I delicately explained that the best thing wouldn't be to move in together, at least until he got a new job or had some kind of plan. That's when things took a turn. My boyfriend was really upset, and he said I was abandoning him when he needed me most, that I didn't believe in him, that if I really love him, then I would get him through this rough patch and allow him to move in with me. He told me that it was only temporary, and he would find a new job soon. I told him I love him, want to help, but we must be realistic. I couldn't shoulder all the rent and bills myself. For days we argued. He said I valued money more than him, that I was selfish and did not understand his struggles. I told him that I was trying to be supportive, but that I couldn't just put myself in a financially risky situation without some sort of plan. What really made the whole thing break for me was when he showed up at my apartment with all his stuff packed and said that he was ready to move in. I was just speechless. I had never agreed to that before, and it felt like he was just steamrolling over my boundaries. I told him no. I said we really needed to talk it through, that I couldn't just take him in without any discussion, especially after he had quit his job without warning. He left that night, furious, and I haven't seen him in person since. He has been staying with friends, and while we have texted, it's mostly been arguments. His friends have been messaging me too, and they do not have a problem calling me cold-hearted, telling me I should have supported my boyfriend when he was clearly having a tough time. My friends are divided. Some think I have done the right thing, did need to set boundaries, while others think I should have been more understanding and allowed him to move in temporarily. I am totally confused whether I did the right or wrong, and I don't know what I should do next. So am I the 𝐒𝐃𝐃𝐃𝐈𝐓'𝐒, and what should I do? OP is not an AH here for setting healthy boundaries for her emotional and financial well-being. So I would give OP 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. As for OP's boyfriend, he is being an AH here for forcing his decision on her and demanding OP to help him financially. There is nothing wrong with helping one another in a relationship, but taking someone for granted and stepping on others' boundaries cannot be justified. If OP was feeling stressed and he wanted OP to help her, he must have discussed her leaving the job with her first. So, I would give OP's boyfriend 2.5 out of 5 on the AH scale. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye bye. See you tomorrow with some more spicy fries.